This is the most heavily armored animal on Earth. Nothing can bite through his scales, but that armor hides a problem he cannot solve alone. In the soft light of dawn, the old pangolin shuffles out to feed. He is one of the strangest, rarest animals alive, and beneath his scales, tiny enemies are feeding on him. His armor is perfect protection against teeth and claws, but it is also a perfect hiding place. In the tight gaps between every scale, mites and ticks gather in their hundreds, feeding where he can never scratch. But he is not without help. Small brown birds drop down from a nearby tree and land on his scaled back. They have learned that and they get to work. Their slender beaks slip into the gaps between his scales, plucking out the parasites one by one. It is delicate, precise work, and it is the only relief the armored one will ever get. This strange creature is the only mammal on Earth completely covered in scales. Each one is made of the same material as your fingernails, and together they form armor almost nothing can break. But watch how carefully the birds work along his armor. They move from scale to scale, tilting their heads, slipping their beaks into each narrow gap, pulling out the mites and ticks buried inside. No other animal on the savannah could reach these hidden parasites. Only these small birds with their perfect little tools can clean the one animal nothing else can touch. The parasites hidden in his armor are more than an itch, trapped against his skin in the dark, warm gaps between the scales. They multiply, feeding on his blood and spreading infection into places he can never clean. Left alone, they could slowly weaken even this armored survivor. The birds are not just easing an itch, they are protecting his life from the inside of his own armor. As the birds ride along, the old pangolin goes about his day. He shuffles up to a termite mound, tears it open with his powerful claws, and feeds, his long, sticky tongue flicking out to gather the insects inside. He is gentle, slow, and almost defenseless in the open, which is exactly why his armor and his cleaners matter so much. But he is being watched. Out in the tall grass, a leopard has been following the smell of the termite mound and found something far better. A pangolin in the open is a rare and tempting meal. Silently, the great cat lowers its body and begins to stalk. But the pangolin has guards he did not even ask for. The birds on his back see the grass move where it should be still. In an instant, they burst upward in a flurry of alarm calls, scattering into the air. And the old pangolin, feeling them leave and hearing their cries, knows in his bones exactly what it means. And now the armored one reveals his greatest secret. He cannot run, he cannot fight, so he does the one thing evolution has perfected in him. In a single smooth motion, he curls himself into a tight, perfect ball, tucking his soft head and belly deep inside, leaving nothing on the outside but a sphere of hard, overlapping scales. The leopard does everything it can. It bites down on the ball with jaws that can crush bone, but the scales simply slide against its teeth. It rakes at him with its claws. It rolls him across the ground. It tries again and again to find a single soft spot, but there is none. The armored one has become an impossible puzzle, a fortress with no door. Minutes pass, the leopard tires, its jaws ache, its claws are worn, and it has nothing to show for its effort but a mouthful of hard scales. No animal can afford to waste this much energy on a meal it cannot open. At last, defeated by an animal that never once fought back, the great cat gives up, turns, and melts away into the grass. For a long while, the pangolin stays curled tight, waiting, listening. Only when he is certain the danger has truly passed does he slowly, cautiously begin to unfurl. His pointed head emerges first, tiny eyes checking the grass, and then, limb by limb, the armored one unrolls himself back into the world, alive and utterly unharmed, and his loyal cleaners return to him. The birds, who scattered the instant the leopard appeared, come drifting back and settle onto his scales once more. Their alarm gave him the seconds he needed to curl up in time. Without their warning, even his perfect armor might not have saved him, and now they simply carry on where they left off. But the birds can only reach so far. The deepest gaps, low on his belly and between his tightest scales, stay out of their reach. So as the heat of the day builds, the old pangolin makes his way to a shallow stream, and here a second, very different set of cleaners is waiting for him in the water. The fish slip into the gaps the birds could never reach, the deepest folds between his scales, plucking out the last of the hidden parasites. Underwater, his armor opens just enough for their tiny mouths to clean where nothing else can. Between the birds on land and the fish in the water, the armored one is finally completely clean. By the time the fish are done, every gap in his armor is clean, from the scales on his back to the deepest folds on his belly. The parasites that tormented him at dawn are gone, picked out by beaks on land and by tiny mouths in the water. His whole strange, scaled body feels light and comfortable for the first time all day. The pangolin is one of the most extraordinary animals alive, and also one of the most mysterious. So rare and so secretive that scientists still know surprisingly little about it. But this much is clear. For all his impenetrable armor, he cannot survive on his own. He depends, every single day, on birds and fish small enough to clean the one thing his armor cannot protect him from, himself. As the sun sinks low, the old pangolin turns for home. He has fed, he has survived a leopard, and he has been cleaned from the tips of his scales to the folds of his belly. The birds make their last passes and lift toward the trees to roost, and the armored one shuffles off into the golden evening, ready to disappear into his burrow for the night. It is easy to see the pangolin as the ultimate loner, a creature so well armored it needs no one at all. But the truth is the opposite. His armor protects him from the outside, but it traps his enemies within. And to survive that, he must lay down his defenses completely, unroll, wade into the water, and trust the smallest of creatures to clean what he never can. We imagine the perfectly armored animal as the ultimate survivor, needing nothing and no one. But even the hardest shell in the natural world has a weakness on the inside. And the pangolin survives in the end, not through his armor alone, but through trust, through the birds and fish that clean the one enemy his scales can never keep out. Tomorrow at dusk, when he wakes and shuffles out again, the parasites will have crept back into his armor, and once more, his faithful cleaners will find him, the birds dropping from the trees, the fish waiting in the stream, ready to tend the armored one exactly as they always have. All across the wild, the same hidden truth holds, even for the most heavily defended animals alive: the buffalo and its birds, the crocodile and its plovers, the turtle and its cleaner fish, and the armored pangolin, laying down his impenetrable shell to be cleaned by creatures a fraction of his size. Nowhere in nature does anything truly survive alone. So the next time you picture the pangolin, the walking fortress that even a leopard cannot crack, do not picture him standing alone. Picture the birds slipping between his scales. Picture the fish cleaning his hidden folds. Because behind the most perfect armor in the natural world, there is still a small, faithful partner, keeping the armored one alive. The most heavily armored animal on Earth, kept alive by birds and fish you could hold in one hand. That is the real secret of survival in the wild. If a story like this makes you see these animals differently, subscribe to Nature's Cleaners. Because behind every fortress of scales, there is a smaller, faithful partner, and we are only just beginning to uncover them.